everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Helen and today I'm bringing to you a book haul. I have 16 books altogether. 12 of those came from a visit to Leeds that I went to with Andy because his fanzine was being exhibited in a library there. The exhibition is called Voice of the Fans and it's there till August if you happen to be in that area. Very proud of him. So 12 of them came to a visit from Waterstones and Leeds while I was there. And then another 4 I got in varying ways. Either I've managed to buy myself, or I think I've got one from a publisher that was sent to me by a publisher as well. So I'm just going to swiftly go through all 16. I will read the backs to let you know what's in them. But for the Waterstones one, I managed to get 12 books for £18. If you happen to go to Leeds Waterstones and are lucky like I was, they had a sales shelf on, trolley on every floor, and there were 3 floors, so I went to every floor and just grabbed, well, I can't say I grabbed everything I saw that I liked because I tried to be choosy, but I couldn't get away from the 12. Some were £1 and I think some were £3, and in Waterstones that's like pretty unheard of, and some of them are hardbacks and there's not really, I think 1 or 2 might be, like I think one of them the spines broke on one of them, but not bad, it's just been cracked, that's all. And maybe the pages on the bottom of one of them are a bit dusty, but apart from that, I'm very happy with my books. And the thing is, when I've counted up the prices, it actually comes to more than £18, but I saw him scan them all, so I'm assuming they must have knocked some money off one of them again. So without further ado, I will talk you through the books. So one of the first, these are the 12 from Waterstones first. So I got Spinning Plates by Sophie Ellis-Bextor. I've wanted this for a while. I got it for £3 and it should be £16.99. It's also, let me find it, signed by Sophie Ellis-Bextor, so I really can't sniff at that for £3, but I'm very fond of Sophie. Obviously introduced to her when she sang Murder on the Dance Floor all those years ago. Oh no, didn't she sing in a song with Groovejet as well? I can't remember the name of the song. Why Does It Feel So Good? Is that the one? Anyway, listen to her music, saw her on Strictly when she danced with Brendan. Yeah, and she just seems like a really nice person. And I also want to start, I think she's got a podcast called Spinning Plates maybe, but I definitely want to try and listen to that at some point. But it's basically, I'm not going to read the back, but it's basically about a life. Obviously her mum is, I think her name's Janet Ellis, who was a Blue Peter presenter. I think there might be pictures in this. Well, there's pictures at the front, not at the back. But yeah, so looking forward to that one, but I thought that was a steal for £3. Then another hardback for £3 was Bumpkin to Broadway by Carrie Ellis. This is the first woman I knew of playing Elsa on the West End. I'm pretty sure I've seen Wicked, I want to say at least twice, and she was Elphaba the first time I saw it. I'm not sure she was Elphaba the second time I saw it, but the soundtrack that I've got, Carrie Ellis is Elphaba. So she's a musical theatre star. Brian May does the foreword from Queen. I know they've got quite a good relationship. I know she sings some songs with them. And also I know just on the off, because I follow her on Instagram, she's also really good friends with Dilly from How to Stacey Solomon's Sort Your Life Out. I know they're good friends, they go on holiday regularly, but this one's got pictures in the middle as well. How cute's that dog? So yeah, just intrigued to that one. I think this is the last hardback. I've got Where the Heart Is by Kate Humble. £3 should have been 22. Kate Humble is the person who has made me want to walk I think it's the Pennine Way. She wrote a book called, I want to say, Following My Feet, and I really enjoyed it. And it's about her walking that walk, camping along the way. I think she does stay in some like B&Bs or little hotels along the way as well. And I have got a book about that way in the hope that one day I'll be able to do it. But this, I've read another one by her as well, I think. I can't remember what that one was called. But this one is about talking about home and what is home. So let's see. Home, the word we use to refer to the place we live, a simple, no nonsense, everyone knows what it means sort of word. But contemplate it for a moment or two and it's not quite as straightforward as it seems. Is home a state of mind as much as a place? Somewhere familiar and comfortable, somewhere to be barefoot and barefaced, where you can put your feet on the furniture, eat peanut butter straight from the jar. No thank you. Laugh, cry, retreat from the world. Is it the place, the only place where you can feel entirely liberated, where you can truly be yourself? Or is it a feeling, something you carry with you wherever you go? Oh yeah, so she's written humble by nature, friend for life. So humble by nature says life, lambs and a dog called Badger, which I haven't read. Then there's friend for life, the extraordinary partnership between humans and dogs. Then there's thinking on my feet. So that's just talking about walking, but I think within that she talks about the Pennine Way. And then a year of living simply, the joys of a life less complicated, and that's the other one that I've read. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this one. So another bargain. And then all the rest were paperback. So I was in the middle of Eurovision-a-thon when I went to Leeds, and I saw a couple that I wouldn't necessarily have read for this round, but I always look ahead for future rounds. And this one mentions Norway. Does it just mention Norway? Or it mentions Poland as well, and possibly a bit of France. So I thought, right, future one. I think it could be a YA maybe, but I'll know when I read it. I got it for £1 and it should have been £6.99. It's called Red, White and Black by Matt Cartney. And it says Danny Lansing is back in a brand new adventure. So it's obviously a series, so I will check if it mentions other countries in those ones. But it says for 67 years the wreckage of an aeroplane has lain scattered on a remote Norwegian mountainside, a poignant and lonely memorial to the failure of its clandestine wartime mission. But when Danny and his uncle Angus discover that secret wartime documents are rumoured to have been within the plane, they decide they must investigate. A terrifying chain of events is set in motion that could spell disaster for thousands of people. Danny and Angus's investigation takes them from the freezing wastes of Norway to the high peaks of the Alps and on into the heart of Poland. What is the connection between the aeroplane and the extremist Adler Commando? What is their repulsive leader planning? Who is the mysterious agent and what service is expected to provide? The closer they get to the answers, the more horrified they become. So yeah, for £1 for next year for one of those countries, all good. Then I got for £3 The Consequence Girl by Alistair Chisholm. This should have been £7.99. I read Orion Lost for middle grade monthly when Jade and Gav used to do that a few years ago. I absolutely loved it, and I don't like anything to do with space. I'd say, well, it's obviously a middle grade book, but then he wrote Adam 2, which I hoped to get my hands on and never did, and then I knew he'd wrote this one. So as soon as I saw this one, I thought I'm having it for £3. It says, the world of Colony is in ruins. No one knows what caused society to begin tearing itself apart, but the secret may lie with Cora, a girl living on the mountainside far away from others. Cora possesses an incredible ability, one that can change lives in ways both good and bad. But there are people looking for Cora, and she is forced on the run and must decide who she is, what she can do, and how to fix the world. So yes, really up for that one. Then I picked up, and I think this out of all of them is the one I'm most excited about, Backyard to Backpack by Evie Farrell, a solo mum, a 6-year-old, and a life-changing adventure. This was £1 and it should have been for $14.99, I think. There's a sticker, so it could be, yeah, I think $14.99. Again, Eurovision-a-thon, I'm always looking for ones for different countries. Let's see, it does mention France and Germany, but other than that it mentions all other countries, so probably France and Germany for this one. But it says, what if you followed your heart to a life that made you truly happy? When her daughter Emmy, who was 6 years old, Evie Farrell left her corporate career, sold or donated almost everything she owned, rented out her house, and hand in hand with Emmy began an epic 2.5-year backpacking adventure that would change their lives forever. Evie farewelled a nasty breakup, long hours in a demanding job, a hefty mortgage, and snatched hours with her daughter for a new life lived outside the lines, spending every day with Emmy, exploring the world beyond the suburbs. They camped on the Great Wall of China, hung in train doorways in Sri Lanka, swam with mantas in Indonesia, donated much needed blood in Cambodia, spotted wild orangutans and pygmy elephants in Malaysian Borneo, prayed in Buddhist temples in Taiwan, and were chased by monkeys everywhere. In their journey towards happiness and self-acceptance, they learnt more about each other and the beautiful world around them than Evie ever expected. So yes, I'm really looking forward to that one. In another life, I would do this. I probably would have just packed up everything and went. And who knows, maybe me, Andy and Sophie will get time in future years to do a lot of travelling together. We will wait and see. But at the moment, and especially, I think that's why I started Eurovision Fun in the first place. I love non-fiction travel. I live vicariously through other people, and these are the kind of books that I just absolutely love. So really excited for that one. Then, again, another Eurovision-a-thon one. This was £1 and it should have been $8.99. And it's called A Fish Trapped Inside the Wind by Christian Cholson. I mean, that cover is gorgeous. It says, this is the story of a fish trapped inside the wind. It all begins in a small town in Belgium, near the French border, on the morning of the festival of St. Wilfrid. There are dead fish scattered everywhere, seemingly blown in by the wind. The empty quarries of Villain are soon to be used as toxic waste dumps. Are the fish a sign from the saint, or a trick played by Contexture, the dance group who once got naked at the Vatican? The lives of 6 people who live in the town are about to be changed forever. A story of magic and fish and the lost poems of Rimbaud. But there's a thing on the back from Karen Joy Fowler, who wrote the Jane Austen book club, which I reread again recently, that says, I fell in love with this novel the moment I read it. The language and imagery were so fresh and vivid. I thought Christian must be a poet, and turned out to be right. The book has a political sharpness, wit and wordliness. It has a compelling plot, a vast number of deftly differentiated voices, and it has characters you will never forget. So, Belgium. Then for £1, and this one should have been $9.99, I got Knee Deep in Life, Wife, Mother, Realist, and Why You're Already Enough by Laura Belbin. Obviously, I'm a mother, so I like to read books by other mothers that suggest that it's not always easy, although it is a blessing. So, Laura Belbin survived hitting her 30s, or to be wrinkle-free, anxiety, just, and motherhood to adorable little, and the new body that went with it. I left that sags slightly more than the right anyone. So she's asking if anybody else has that. This is her fearless and filthy account of how she did it, and a sweary reminder that you are more than enough. Sounds funny. I will read that when I need something easy and a bit of a laugh. For £1, I got The Opt-Out Family by Erin Lochner, and this should have been, it's in US dollars, but it says $19.99. It's basically how to give your kids what technology can't. So I'm all for trying to put your phone down, trying to get your kids to put your phone down and do stuff together and outside. This one says, do you know the people under your roof better than their devices do? The statistics are grim. Excess screen time is eroding our society, interrupting family rhythms and disconnecting us from our closest relationships. From toddlers to teens to grown-ups, technology has a grip on us all. So how do we liberate our families? In the Opt-Out Family, former online influencer and trailblazer Erin Lochner reveals the secret strategies of tech wizards and platform experts to uncover what exactly makes devices so addictive, and how to use Silicon Valley's billion-dollar strategies to engage and delight your family in screen-free ways. As with everything, what's the word? Moderation. Technology is great in lots of ways. It's also really bad in other ways. I think we could all do with a bit less time on our phones and outside and together. And I aim for that a lot of the time. So I'm always interested to read stuff about that. Then for £1, which should have been $8.99, I got Mother Can You Not by Kate Friedman Siegel, based on the Instagram account Crazy Jewish something. Anyway, it says, there is nothing more wonderful than a mother's love. There is also nothing more annoying. Who else can proudly insist that you're perfect while simultaneously making you question every career, fashion and relationship decision you have ever made? From embarrassing moments like crashing crashing Kate's gynecological exams to outrageous stories like the time she made Kate steal a cat from the pound, to hilarious celebrations including, but not limited to, parties for Kate's menstrual cycles, Mother Can You Not is Kate's brilliantly funny and affectionate story of life with her fabulous eccentric mother. Thought that sounded interesting and a good way for me to try not to become an eccentric mother, although I may already be. Then I got You're the Only One I Can Tell by Deborah Tannen, Inside the Language of Women's Friendships. Got it for £1, should have been $9.99. I love books about friendships, so I'm looking forward to this one. It says, women friendships are crucial. A friend can be like a sister, daughter, mother, mentor, therapist or confessor. She can also be the source of pain and betrayal. From casual chatting to intimate confiding, there are patterns of communication and miscommunication that affect friendships. Tannen shows how even the best of friends with the best intentions can say the wrong thing, how the ways women friends talk can bring friends closer or pull them apart, but also how words can repair the damage done by words. This illuminating and validated book gets inside the language of one of most women's life essentials. Looking forward to that one. And finally, for this 12 from Waterstones, I picked up this one, which was £1. It's called Little Wonder by Sasha Ambransky. And it says, the extraordinary story of Lottie Dodd, the world's famous first female sports star. And look at the clothes she's wearing. And I'm pretty sure this was at like Olympic sports. So it says, I'm not a sporty person, but I love the idea of this woman doing this over all men. It says, Little Wonder tells the epic and until now largely unchronicled story of Lottie Dodd, the first great heroine in women's sports. Winner of Wimbledon when she was only 15, Dodd also won a silver medal at the 1908 Olympics, won the British Ladies Amateur Golf Championship and played hockey for England, among many other dazzling achievements. In the late 19th century, she was almost certainly the second most famous woman in the British Isles after Queen Victoria. She was fawned over by the press and loved by a huge fan base, which composed poems and songs in her honour, followed her from one tournament to the next, voraciously read every profile published on her and every report on her sporting triumphs. Yet within a decade or two of her retirement from complete competition, Dodd was largely a forgotten figure. She lived unmarried and childless until 1960, and for the last half of her life she was shrouded in obscurity. In this astonishing new book, Sasha Ambransky brings Dodd's remarkable achievements back into the public eye in a fascinating story of resilience and determination, contextualising it against a backdrop of rapid social change and tectonic shifts in the status of women in society. Dodd was born into a world which even upper-class women such as herself could not vote, were restricted in owning property and were assumed to be fragile and delicate. Women of Lottie Dodd's class were expected not to work and to definitely get married. Dodd turned that equation on its head and instead put her heart and soul into becoming the best athlete she could possibly be, and in doing so became one of the pioneers to pave the way for the likes of Billie Jean King, Serena Williams and the top female athletes of today. She accepted no limits, no glass ceilings, believed she could compete with the top men in whatever sport she set her sights on, and always refused to compromise. How wonderful does that sound? And I'm also going to check if she travelled to any European countries and maybe use it for Eurovision-a-thon. We will see. So then here I've got 3 books that I purchased for myself and then one that was sent to me by the publisher. I will do the publisher book first. I will put up here which publisher it was. It was through Instagram. They private messaged me and said, we think this would be right up your street, and they weren't wrong. I'm not sure I could use it. It came in the middle of Eurovision-a-thon and I thought, I hope they don't want me to read it like right this minute. And it wasn't, because it already passed the date that it was due out. It was due out on the 24th of April. But it's The Frozen River by Ariel Lawhon. It says, in the cold of night she tends to the women, in the light of day she delivers them justice. It's set in Maine, 1789. It's inspired by the life of Martha Ballard, a renowned 18th century midwife who defied the legal system and wrote herself into history. Do you think that this publisher saw that I liked books about strong women? Anyway, when the Kennebec River freezes, entombing a man in the ice, Martha Ballard is summoned to examine the body and determine the cause of death. As a midwife and healer, she is privy to music of what goes on behind closed doors in Hallowell. Her diary is a record of every birth and death, crime and debacle that unfolds in the close-knit community. Months earlier, Martha documented the details of an alleged rape committed by 2 of the town's most respected gentlemen. One of them who has now been found dead in the ice, but when a local physician undermines her conclusion, declaring the death to be an accident, Martha is forced to investigate the shocking murder on her own. Over the course of one winter, as the trial nears and whispers and prejudices mount, Martha doggedly pursues the truth. Her diary soon lands at the centre of the scandal, implicating those she loves and compelling Martha to decide where her own loyalties lie. So I thought that sounded fantastic, and I can't wait to read it. Oh, there you go, Swift Press. Swift Press sent me that one, so thank you to Swift Press. I look forward to reading that very soon. Then I went to a local shopping centre and found this one, which I think is a middle grade, intended for middle grade. It's short stories and it's called Make More Noise, again about strong women. It says an incredible collection of brand new short stories from 10 of the UK's very best storytellers, celebrating inspirational girls and women in honour of the 100th anniversary of women's suffrage. I paid £1 for it, and it should have been $7.99. So I'm excited to dip in and out of that one. The writing's quite big, so I should get through it. And who knows, again, there might be some, did it say UK or, oh yeah, UK. Oh no, 10 of the UK's very best storytellers, but it just says inspirational girls and women. So I might be able to see if there's any European women in there. Obviously there'll be UK, but I don't tend to struggle for UK for Eurovision-a-thon. Right, the next 2 were on my wish list. What I tend to do is I tend to put books on my wish list so I don't forget about them if I can't buy them right this minute. And so obviously that builds up over time. There'll be ones that have been on there for ages that I've kind of been like, I don't feel like reading that now. And then some of the recent ones I put on, I buy quite quickly. So that's really what my wish list is for, is so I don't forget them. I do that a lot with Eurovision-a-thon books, especially when I've got some for those countries already on my shelves. I think, well, I'll just put it on my list and then for future ones it's there. A lot of them I do forget about, but I go through it periodically and just delete the ones I'm not interested anymore. So for the first one that was on there was a Christmas book called The Christmas Wishtastrophe by Carrie Lloyd. This was on my wish list because Lauren from Lauren and the Books does a Christmas Patreon book club. Obviously, well, she does a Patreon book club every month, but she does a specific Christmas one and a partner takes part. Excuse me. David, his name is. They pick a book each at Christmas. We all vote, and then the one that gets the most vote wins. This was Lauren's pick for the Christmas just gone, but we picked David's pick, which was, I can't remember what it's called, something gifts, but I can't remember. I don't know if it was 12 gifts. We picked that one. It was short stories. I don't think it was everybody's cup of tea, and I kind of wished at the time that I'd gone for this one in the end. I got this for £3 off Amazon. I noticed that it had gone, the price had gone right down on my wish list, and I thought I might as well get it now, and it should have been £14.99. Let me just show you the cover underneath the dust jacket, because I couldn't believe how gorgeous this was. Well, I say how gorgeous, there's a picture on it that's beautiful. How cute is that little guy? And then there's a star on the back as well. But yes, very chuffed with that. So £3. It's obviously a children's book, but it said, could one simple wish start a wishtastrophe? When Lydia Marmalade makes a wish on the most magical night of the year, she's launched into incredible adventure. So I'm hoping that I can persuade Sophie to read that with me. If not, I'll just read it myself. I love reading all Christmas related books at Christmas time, so looking forward to that one. Then this was on my wish list. It'd been on for ages, and for some reason I thought this lady travelled through Europe for this journey, and so just assumed that at some point she'd gone there and then moved on to this area. That is not the case, but hey ho, I only paid, again, I think about £3 for this, and it should have been $18.99. So I couldn't leave it there. It's called The Life Cycle, 8,000 Miles in the Andes by Bamboo Bike, Kate Rolls. So I don't know where I got Europe from, but I just thought it was. But I like travel books anyway. It says, peddling hard for 13 months, eco-adventurer Kate Rolls cycled the length of the Andes on a bamboo bicycle that she built herself. The life cycle charts her mission to find out why biodiversity is so important, what's happening to it, and what can be done to protect it. From the Pacific Ocean to rainforests and salt flats, Kate learns that armadillos can cross rivers by holding their breath, that Colombia has more species of birds than North America and Europe combined, and that so there's Europe, but I don't think that's what I was thinking, and that in threatening species and ecosystems we're tearing down our own life support system. Wow, this is going to be hard hitting and maybe a bit maudlin. En route, she witnesses the devastation of gold mining and oil drilling, but finds hope in the incredible people working to regenerate habitats and communities. Yay. As she reaches the end of the world, she realises that to tackle biodiversity loss, we all have a role to play. Looking forward to that. So there are all 16 of my books. Let me know if you've read any of them and I can push the ones that you suggest up the pile. Have you not seen any of these before and excited about any of them? Yeah. Have you had any real bargains recently? Have you been to Waterstones in Leeds? Are there any other Waterstones that have really good bargains like that? I am intrigued to know. So thank you for joining me and I will see you next time.